Hey, what's going on, fam? First and foremost, to get the elephant out of the room, I'm sorry about this this last minute episode and like this kind of weird setup. I'm actually not near my normal setup where I film and record. I'm actually not around like a lot of technology right now. I'm pretty much doing this whole thing from my phone, but yeah, long story short, just had some personal stuff go down with me, and I just had to take a couple of days off. Again, just off my phone as much as possible, definitely off the internet, and just take some time to myself. But yeah. Anyways, though, someone sent me this today, and the only reason I'm even speaking on it is the fact that not necessarily, that it happened or even really why it happened. I mean, the writing was kind of like all written on the wall when it came to this movie when I spoke about it some time ago. But more so, I'm just really kind of surprised by the response that has gotten from a certain group of individuals. But we'll get to them in a bit. But yeah, as you can see, the Batgirl movie has been canceled or at least shelved until further notice. Originally it was supposed to come out on HBO. It was supposed to be an HBO Max exclusive for their streaming site. And I think later on there was talks about it definitely still coming out on a streaming service, but then also having like a limited release or maybe possibly even just a dual release on movie theaters for theatrical. But no, it's officially shelved. And yeah, I believe this movie has already been done. At least it's definitely been wrapped filming wise. I think earlier in the year, like they finished wrap filming, and they were pretty much done with post production because it has gone around for like a couple of test screenings, and from what I've seen, again from what I've heard, they did not go so well. Or at the very least, it was pretty much mixed reactions. And yeah, a lot of other people have already, or that I've seen a little bit, have kind of like talked on the same talking points, whether it be mostly articles and a few other YouTubers and stuff. And yeah, pretty much I called this out before. This is a movie that I just had no big interest in. To be honest, it was just one of those things where it's just kind of like, yeah, I mean, obviously we had like the needless tokenization of Barbara Gordon, but aside from like all that, you had it just being like a confusing movie because you had people saying that oh no, this is a one-off. Then they were like, oh no, this is in like the main DCEU, but then you're having her as Batgirl, but then you're also having Jim Gordon, played by J.K. Simmons from, the Snyder movies, the Justice League movies. He's being Jim Gordon, but at the same time, you're having Michael Keaton playing Batman, and you're trying to figure out who's the main Batman. Is it still Ben Affleck or is it Michael Keaton? But apparently, this movie is supposed to come out after the Flash movie, and they were just like, oh no, it's Flashpoint. That's going to fix it all up. Like, again, Flashpoint just DC's, whether it be in live action or comics, that's their get out of jail free card. It's either Flashpoint or just the multiverse in general. Oh, it's a different character. It's a different version. So, anyways, but yeah, this was just a messy movie to begin with, just from like what we heard. So I had like no expectations for it at all whatsoever. Again, I wasn't like rooting for this movie to not come out at all or anything. I'm just very, very indifferent about it. But as I stated before, the one thing that really caught me by surprise and I wasn't expecting is, this cancellation kind of, I hate using this word, but I think it's a proper one. It triggered off the Snyder Bros. And I think I've mentioned the Snyder Bros once or twice before, but, whether you like them or you don't like them, that's kind of irrelevant to the conversation, but you have to admit, when the time calls for them, or they think, there is a call for them, not only will they assemble and they will show up, but they also never forget. And by that, as you can see here, we have pretty much Snyder Bro members engaging in threads and comments, basically talking to like the Batgirl fans. Oh, hashtag bring back Batgirl, hashtag release the film. Please, we want Batgirl. They're basically kind of the Snyder Bros are countering that with, hey, you shouldn't do that. That's toxic. Harassing a studio that has every right to do whatever they want to do is bad. You're setting a bad example. You're toxic. So basically what they're doing is they're mocking and shaming the Batgirl fans the same way they were kind of mocked and shamed when they had their whole Release the Snyder Cut campaign. Because for like the longest time, it was more so, oh, shut up, like that movie doesn't exist, or that cut of the Justice League doesn't exist. You're being toxic, you're being man babies, this and that. And then eventually it came, they kept up with it for a good couple of years, like what, 2-3 years or something like that, until Warner Brothers looked deep down into their hearts, their wallets, and and say, you know what, let's try to make some money off the Snyder Bros. So this is something that like I never would have expected. But again, that group just doesn't forget. They always show up and they don't forget. But yeah, that's pretty interesting and all. But yeah, they're WB and Discovery, because they're doing a merger right now. Like I guess Discovery's coming in and they're cleaning house. Like Flash, at least the TV series, he's going to be on his last season next year for 2023. I think it's 13 or 12 episodes, and that's going to be at least like a season finale. So he gets like a send off. And they looked at this movie and said like, hey, like, because I think it was like $70 million to originally produce it, but then they had to do like a production halt, like with COVID, and they had to dump another $20 million for between like reshoots and editing and stuff. So yeah, that $90 million they're just willing to just take a L on. So I mean, yeah. R.I.P. Batgirl movie.